Vegas Circle podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture, and this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who make it happen. On today's podcast, we got something special, man. We got one of the top running backs in the NFL league right now. We're going to delve into what it's like being a professional NFL player, what it's like off the season, and how to keep your money, man, especially with all the stuff that you guys deal with being a professional athlete. So we're welcome to the Circle, Austin Ekeler, man. So welcome to the Circle, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So shout out to Blake Wynn, man, our guy, both a mutual friend, man. I appreciate him connecting us about a month back. But let's jump right in, man. So
let's do it.
Just moved to Vegas, or you've been to Vegas for a little while now.
Yeah, a couple years now.
What brought you to Vegas?
Well, first, my agent lived here at the time. He ended up passing away, but he was the person that was.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I was really close with him.
Wow.
He was a business attorney at heart, and then had his agency on the side. And he was actually the only agent that ever reached out to me, and I'm still with his agency to this day. And he lived here, so I wanted to get closer to him because we had become really close off the field, besides the business.
Sure.
That was kind of like an added part of it. And then, taxes was
were 1,000%.
Taxes were a little bit more, beneficial over here when it came to, 1099 money. And then just really wanted to get out of California and then get around this networking hub here in Las Vegas because, as you guys know, Vegas is like a big, small town.
1,000%.
There's nothing around. Everything stays in Vegas. A lot of connections that roll through here, and it's really tight. There's a lot of old business. When you have old business, you have a lot of connections that kind of wind together. And so I wanted to get tapped into a new network out here because I had been in LA for about 5 years, and so I was like, okay, like I've really grown roots here. But let's expand a little bit right over across the border about 4 hours away, and here I am.
Makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, that's why Chris and I, we started this almost 6 years now. And the networking is unreal.
It is.
And people, I'm glad you started off with that because people don't give Vegas enough credit.
Right.
What they're doing.
What I've experienced is there's always someone coming into town, right? Or Blake say, hey, I want to introduce you to one of my friends that's coming into town, or someone that I know, friends are coming back into town, or there's a conference going on.
Sure.
I'm speaking at tech conferences. I'm speaking over here, or I'm going to networking groups over here. So there's always something going on. And even if there's not something going on, I love taking the lady down, going to get dinner, amazing restaurants down there too. So it's not always the nightlife that people think and you're on the tables and all that stuff. There's definitely a place to build your entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. And you kind of talk a little bit about like the tax implications, right? Because you're an employee of California, right? Like, is that how it works?
Well, I'm an employee of the Chargers who are based in California. So I get W-2 pay for all of my football on the field stuff.
Got it.
But all my off the field stuff are through W-9, right?
Makes
so that's taxed back to the state my residency is in.
Okay, that makes
You
sense.
got to have a little bit of a cheat code to be able to do it. I
it.
get it. And I keep seeing, I mean, they'll say like the next 7 years is just unreal with the growth that's happening in Vegas. So,
it's been,
it's so exciting to be able to see. So you were talking a little bit about building the office here. So what have you kind of been working on, outside of football?
Yeah,
What's
so
kind of the focus
a little
there?
backstory about me that will be relevant to the story is I was going to school for business. I went to a really small school, and actually no one from my school had gone to the NFL. And so for me, I went to a Division II school. I was not thinking about the NFL.
Okay.
I'd never seen a scout on campus before. Like the NFL is a foreign entity that I watch on TV sometimes. I didn't even watch it growing up. I was from the country.
Okay.
I was watching.
Where are you from?
I'm from Eaton, Colorado. So I was watching bull riding and bass fishing.
So wow.
That's what I was. That's what I was watching.
Okay.
So it was a little bit different upbringing. So I'm going into school using football. I had a half scholarship to go and pay for my school, but I was using football to pay for school, and I was really dedicated. I went to a small school. It's easy to stay focused at a small school, especially in the mountains.
Sure.
Where it was like
no distractions.
It was 2 guys to every 1 girl. Party life wasn't that crazy, and there was no malls or anything like that. It was like straight tourist town. So I'm locked in. I ain't got a choice.
Okay.
And so I enjoyed my time there, but really I was focused on getting my degree and getting into the business world, and actually did that. Actually had an internship my junior year. Got a job offer from Noble Energy, who got acquired by. I think it was Chevron and oil and gas. So I was going to go into oil and gas, wanted to start getting into house hacking, right? Rent out my rooms and start getting into flipping. That was my plan.
Okay.
After my junior year also, that same year, I had my internship. My coach comes to me and says, Austin, you've been playing really well, which I had been freshman of the year, sophomore of the year, All-American, academic All-American, all that. Like I said, I'm all in, I'm going off. And I'm trying to build this opportunity for my business off the field. And my coach comes to me, he's like, hey, man, like you might have an opportunity to play in the NFL. Like you got some scouts calling about you. I'm like, Scouts. What are you talking about, scouts?
And you were playing Division two.
This is Division two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what are you talking about, scouts coming to see me? Like, what do you,
Okay.
I had never, who are these people?
Yeah.
And so sure enough, my senior year, I had a scout almost at every single one of my practices coming to watch me practice. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. It all became real for me.
Okay.
And so this is kind of the setup for where we're at now. Fast forward 7 years, a lot happened through. I really applied myself, ended up making a career for myself, been starting for the last 4 years now with the Chargers. But my entrepreneurial side and my business side still stayed with me. But now I got catapulted with more resources behind it, right? Because now I have the capital. Now I have, which we can get into how you say we're talking about how to save money, because I definitely touched the stove a few times, getting burned.
Yeah.
Because when you get exposed to capital right away, we can get to this and later when you ask that question, but when you get exposed to capital right away, you haven't gone through the pains of getting it and building it up yourself, right? It's just kind of handed to you. Here you go. You're playing a sport. You're taking advantage
You don't know
of the
how to
platform.
manage it.
You
Don't
don't
know
know any
anything.
of that.
You're real young. That's the hard part.
Exactly.
Too.
I was 21 years
Yeah.
old, you know, when I first got into the league. But going to this the question that you were asking me, what am I got going off the field now? At this point, the foundation, a few other endeavors that I have going on out here in the office as well, and we can jump into them later. But I think it was important just to put that context and just to show where I am, where my mindset is, and kind of why I'm here.
I love that you did internship. That was something that was very helpful for me. Like I did an internship for 3 years at Tufts Medical in Boston because I thought I was going to get into orthopedic surgery, and I'm glad I did that because it was not for me. Like you're really getting the experience of being able to do that. But so I'm glad you talked about business. So Magic Johnson obviously was huge, right?
Yeah.
19 years old, was learning a lot about business and was building his enterprise outside of that. What did you actually learn, like, just in general? Was it people that kind of taught you the basics of business, or did you just kind of jump right in and just figured it out as you went?
Both.
Okay.
So a couple entities that I have going right now. One is called Experience, and it's an app. It's an engagement app.
Okay.
And one thing that it really irritated me was I had this big following, and I'm like, how do I monetize this following? And I could do it with doing brand deals, but then I'm like posting 15% off links on my socials, and I'm like,
it's not you.
It is. Like there's room for that. There's room for that because it's not all the time, but every once in a while, right? You go do a brand deal. Like I'm signed with Adidas. I'll post some Adidas stuff there, but it's like there's a living organism, which is like my following that's there, and it's like, how do I get some type of value or make this work for me? And so I started this company called Experience, where it's an engagement platform. It has 6 different offerings on there. If you want to get something signed, if you want to do a video chat, if you want to game with me, if you want to do anything on social media, if you want a personalized video, if you want an item. So those are the ones that we have now. So I started this app, and you asked, like, did I get guidance? I kind of just jumped into it. It's like a hobby. Like, I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to hire some developers, and I'm going to I'm going to build something. I'm going to build an app, put it on the App Store, see how it does. And so that was one of my first big learning curves that I went through. That was about 2.5 years ago when I started to learn. I didn't know anything about tech. I don't know anything about scope. These words, scope creep. I don't know if you ever heard scope.
Nah,
that is real.
If I don't know, he's the tech guy.
Right. So scope creep is like, oh, I'm going to build this. And then you go to developer, and they're like, okay, we're going to build that. But then you start building that, and you're like, wait a minute. I kind of want this feature too. And I want this feature and this feature, and it just starts to create right. And all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa! And what I planned is now looking like this other thing that costs quadruple the budget that I had set for it. So I learned that, lost a ton of money, and luckily in tech, you can write it off. In the tech world, there's some advantages in the tax space. Shout out to Uncle Sam for that one as well.
That's beautiful. That's good to know too.
They want you to get in the tech space, so there you go. And
so they're willing to take some risks.
So that's when I learned too. You asked if I had people guiding me, so I didn't even know about the tax breaks in the tech space until one of my mentors comes to me and is like, "Hey, you can do this with tech." And we were writing off. We made a pivot sense, and we wrote off 80% of our tech build and all of the costs that were associated with that because it was dead. It was dead. We can only use some of it, but 80% of it was dead. So I've been touching the stove, learning on the fly, but also having mentors as I continue to go, and as this project for me continues to get more and more real. And since our pivot, now I've actually put experts in around. I actually had one of my mentors say, because I was kind of had like some friends helping me out, and they're like, "You wouldn't hire your mother to be an offensive lineman, would you?" I'm like, I get it now.
That's great.
No, I would never have my mom be my offensive lineman. I need an offensive lineman. I need a CTO. I need a CMO. I need a CFO to be a CFO, not my buddy, not my my friend who thinks he's good, he's got it. Or I depend on him like, hey, you got this, or me. I'm not an offensive lineman.
With it, yeah.
I'm not an offensive lineman. I got to play running back, right? So I'm the visionary of my company, right? I'm the spokesperson. I'm the person behind it, of the energy, right? I'll go out and raise money, do all that stuff, but I need everyone else to be the experts in helping me run it. So that's where I'm at now.
That's awesome.
Kind of talk about energy, right? I think the one thing is immediate. You have a high energy, right? Like you're
Yeah.
very in it. You're passionate. You do it well, right? But when you're doing something at such a high level, like being a running back in the NFL, and then also trying to pivot to be a high functioning owner, right? How do you run these two things parallel? Because they both demand so much time and effort and attention.
So I'm learning the hard way, and I learn why most athletes really just focus on the sport. And it makes so much sense now that I'm starting to kind of venture out and poke into these other things. Because if you're an expert in something, just like our guys that have been playing football, I just passed my 20-year mark. I've been playing since I was 8 years old. I'm 28 right now. And I've been playing for so long and gotten so good because that's what I've done every single season for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the business space, right? The people that, as a professional, you're doing the same thing. You're building your skills. You're building your network. You're building your capabilities. You're building your experience. You're building all of these things that are making you a professional at that. And so it's not as easy just to say, oh, now I'm going to start this on the side. You're missing 20 years of experience that other people have been building up, just like you did for football, just like I have for football. And so that's where it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I need experts in that field because I'm not that yet. I want to build myself up, and I'm putting myself in that position. But that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is that there's so much for me to learn. I'm so far behind the curve as far as what I want to do and my capabilities to actually go out and actually execute that. And so it's also fun, right? Because now it's like a new thing, but I got to keep football the main thing when it is that time. And I've gotten to a point where I can continue to be a pro. I get all my training out in the morning, and then I have the rest of this time to kind of, right? It's not like we're in the basketball gym and I can shoot 1,000 shots. You know, I can't go out and hit people, you know, all the time or run through bodies.
Rest your body too,
So it's a different type of sport too, different type of off season. So I do have some time to take advantage of learning and growing myself in those other fields.
I think that makes a lot of sense. That's going to be my question. Like, do you have that ability to pull away and separate and really give the attention to one thing or the other? And when you're doing that, like say there's times where you're needed in both spaces. Like how do you make a decision?
Oh yeah,
on that stuff?
like example experience. I've been building this. I build it during the season, so we'll get done at like 5:30. It's like a 9 to 5 really during the season. Like I'll get there before then, but then I get home around 5 o'clock, and then I got a couple hours from 6, 7, 8 that I'll jump on experience. That's where I remember when I first started out, I was on Canva. I'm putting these like sketches together and putting all these ideas. I'm putting all these ideas. So you know how it is. I'm putting these ideas. It looks terrible. But I'm gonna save them because this is where it started. And so it just depends on what you value as time and value as quality time for yourself. Like for me, when I get home, I want to build stuff. You know, kind of going back to my upbringing, I was around a lot of building as far as manual labor building. I realized I don't want to be around that, but that's basically what I grew up building barbed wire fence, and we were always building something. It's kind of been ingrained in my head to build and also build as efficiently and effectively as you can. Which when you don't know what you're doing, you get burned. And you think you know what you're doing, then you go out and you learn. Oh, you don't know this, and then you learn. And you get mentors that kind of help you. So that's kind of what I've been going through. But for me, it's just been, hey, what do I want to do with my free time? And it's build stuff.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. You know, I wish it was. Is that a trained skill? You think? Like, can I learn
that?
I need to figure out how to get some energy in this life.
It's a blessing and a curse. Blessing and a curse. I'll say that because, you know, I'm sure if you look at me from the outside, if someone like, oh, like you play football, like is that enough? Like it has never been enough. Like I want to play football, but I also want to build. I also want to have my foundation. I also want to make an impact. I want to build a community, and so it takes away from other things that you could see as quality time, you know, with my fiance and things like that. So it really just depends on how you're setting up your life and who you're around. You know, I have this thing that I call the neighborhood, and it's a group that I'm involved in, and it's a lot of people that are very similar to me, have the entrepreneurial drive that want to continue to build. Like Blake, for instance, right? Where this man, he's always in his office. I was just talking to his fiance. He's like, we need to like watch more movies, and I'm like, I would get that same thing together with my fiance. We're like, okay, we got to make sure I'm being intentional about my quality time with my lady, my significant other, because that's absolutely important to me. But it's that type of energy where you just want to build is that I love to be around. Yeah.
We learned this because I've been with my wife almost 20 years now, coming up in May.
Yeah.
We put it appointments.
Congrats.
I appreciate that, man. We literally put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
That's the only way to be able to do it, man, because we're so busy 7 days a week.
Do you live by the calendar too?
I try to.
Oh my goodness.
I try to. Yeah. I try to.
So I have my assistant who runs my calendar, and it is just, it's full. Like today. Like it was like, hey, move out,
Packed,
and I was packing. It's just it's not necessarily packed with like always busy stuff, but just like, hey, eat lunch. Like, cause I don't know, you guys have probably been there before where you're like, you're just in the zone and you're just going. I'm responding to emails. I got investor calls. I'm trying to raise money for my app. I got this. I got to go to this. And it's like, I don't even eat. I'm like, okay, like put it on the schedule. And so
that's smart, man. You got to do it.
Right.
Check it off.
Right. Because for me, I have an obsessive personality. Again, one of those, a blessing and a curse. But if, like when I get into something, like I consume myself inside of it. Right. And I'm really, that's how I got to where I am today.
That's
when I had my first opportunity to play in the NFL, that was what it was. I was like, I'm going to treat this like my life depends on it. And I mentally tapped into it. And I was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. But it allowed me to make an impact enough when I was 6th string on the depth chart where I was able to be seen. Hey, this guy, he's not the biggest, but he makes a huge impact when he's on the field. And I get that all the time. People, I thought you'd be bigger. It was like, it's not about the stature. It's my impact.
Make it happen,
what contribution are you making? Measure that. Don't measure what my body looks like, right? Measure what I do when I'm on the field. And when you apply yourself, when you're there, when you're in the right place, right time, you've done the preparation, right? You put your body through it. You can go and make an impact regardless of what your body looks like. And a lot of times you can outwork people that are even more talented than you. And that's what's ended up happening to me. I beat out first rounders. I beat out other drafted people. Like it's just, and how I continue to stay at a high level because of that. Because that's just my mindset, that personality that I have, and I apply it to other things.
Yeah. That's powerful.
How do you stay humble? Because when you go through all those challenges, right? When you've been in some lower spots, right? Now you're seeing those high levels of success. How does that how do you stay humble? Because I think that's a hard part for a lot of people.
I think I still live by similar principles. Now I just have more stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like I've always wanted to build. I wanted to build stuff, especially like when I was getting into school, and I wanted to build my education up so I can go into the business world and start building up my real estate portfolio. But now I'm just building in this sector, and now I'm going to build in that sector, and now I have opportunities to build over here. And so it's really the same principles that I live by. So as far as staying humble, it's easy because I feel like I am the similar type of person that I was, like the same type of mentality that I'm applying to different things. I've done more now. Yeah. I'm just more evolved than I used to be. But it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm the best or that. You just keep going. It just doesn't end. I'm just the same person, which is fulfilling for me because for me, I find fulfillment within building things. And there's no really end, and so it keeps me humble because I'm still always working towards something.
It's that journey, keeping it going.
Exactly.
To the listeners, I've never once heard anything negative about you. We know a lot
well,
of people
I hope
know
not.
you.
I hope not.
Nothing but positivity there.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of see with my energy, I really want to just continue to build things that people can use to better themselves. And so when you're on that path, I feel like it's really hard to talk negative about somebody because I'm trying to help myself, but also trying to use that same tool to help other people.
Impact other people. That's good, man.
Like for instance, my foundation, we renovate weight rooms for high schools because when I was growing up, my getaway from building fence, all of that was sports in the weight room. And I love the weight room. That's like where I'm like passionate. That's where I feel like I can let go. It's like my therapy. And so it's like, okay, let's go renovate these gyms that need it in these high schools that are torn down, 20 years old, floorboards coming out, and give them that opportunity back that they're actually encouraged to go and do that because there's so many transferable skills. So those are just examples of things where you're implementing. And I have another project called Pro Athlete Ventures, which is it's a project, it's a media company where we're highlighting NFL players right now, just starting there, we'll venture out, but NFL players off the field endeavors, right? So
awesome.
So you can bring light because right now, the NFLPA, we don't do a good job of measuring our things that we're impacting the society with, which we're doing tons of them.
Yeah,
and
organically too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Organically, or even just there's so many foundations, so many podcasts, so many different camps, things like that. And so I want to bring. So the things that I'm doing are like, hey, how can I help others empower themselves or spring light on the things that they're doing to help the rest of the world as well.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I love this, man. I really do. I'm being honest. Yeah, because it gives, because it's like, I hate to say like LeBron or people like that, but you're not just an athlete.
Right.
You're doing, they always talk about NFL not for long. And obviously you've been, I think, in the league for about 7 years.
7 years now, yeah.
So you went past that.
I'm old.
Setup. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So are you currently a free agent right now, or are you signed with the Chargers?
At this time, when we're recording this podcast, I'm not a free agent.
Oh, you're not a free agent?
In about 3 weeks, I'll be a free agent. From when we're recording this. I don't know when it's going to be launched.
Okay.
But this year I'll be a free agent. And so there's going to be some new teams interested. I've already been talking to teams right now, so that's encouraging.
Okay.
So I'll have a new home. Potentially could be going back, but
Okay.
Who knows how it's going to play out?
You know, of course, I'm going to ask you this. So where do you want to be at?
Ooh, see, people always ask me that, and it's not necessarily because
Okay.
I didn't grow up watching the logos. Like I didn't have this is my favorite team. I didn't grow up watching the player. I told you, bass fishing and bull riding. Chris Shivers, look him up. Professional bull rider. So for me, it comes down to who wants me. Who wants Austin Ekeler in their program? Who feels like Austin can actually fit into their scheme?
Okay.
You know, and what capacity? Is it? Are you going to be a 1-2 punch? That's how I got my start. You want me to be the starter? You want me to be a backup? And that, depending on that conversation, is going to put you on my priority board. You know, where you go, and then I'm gonna have to go kind of reprioritize. Okay, what's the appetite for having someone like myself at my age, my impact on their team, and kind of go from there. And then now the numbers have to fit in too, because look, I've built up. I have a lot of stuff going for me. You know, I could transition into something else off the field. I don't want to yet, but if it's like I'm getting disrespected by every single person, I gotta know when my time's time. When it's time to go and time to go to the new thing. So I doubt that that's where it's at right now, but we'll see.
Say the Raiders? Can we put them
We'll
in? Can we put them in
the Raiders are going to need it back.
That's what I'm saying. Since we here,
I would be surprised if they got rid of Josh. To be honest, I think they're probably trying to get something done over there. But you know, who knows what's going to happen?
I got to put you on the spot, man. So we got to ask.
For sure. And
it's
crazy. The NFL's crazy. You know, you saw New England get rid of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So no one is safe. No, I don't care who it is. No one is safe. And he went and won a Super Bowl with a different team. They got rid of the GOAT. You know, and so same thing with us. We got rid of Phillip Rivers. Then he went the next year and went to the playoffs with the Colts. And it's like the NFL. It's fluid. It's fluid, and sometimes, well, a lot of times, you don't get to decide because there's caps, there's new turnover, and you don't know what's going on in the front office, what they really think about you. You hear what they say, but how do they really feel? And they'll do that through their actions. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting dynamic. Yeah, because even right now the culture, I mean the sentiment for running backs it doesn't seem to be. Last year or 2 years ago, it's kind of not favorable, right? It seemed like
they're franchising our guys.
Yeah. It seemed like it's shifting back a little bit more in your favor now. So hopefully they take care.
We'll see. I know there was a big old thing about Austin Ekeler puts the running backs together we did a Zoom call. Basically, we're just talking all of our strategy of what's going on and putting a narrative out there that we're pissed off. We don't like that you're putting all the risk on us on a 1-year deal that we don't get to negotiate.
I agree, though. That makes perfect sense.
I'm definitely an advocate for not only the running backs, for all players, though, and making sure that we have a fair opportunity in this game, because this game is so brutal. When you put us on a 1-year deal, don't let us negotiate the price, and you say, hey, okay, this is what you're playing on. In any position, that's not favorable for any player.
No.
And so I'll always fight against the franchise tag, and just for our players to have the best opportunity to extend their career and make a big impact in this game.
Well, most fans support you in that. I know that for sure.
Yeah, the fans do, and I would say for most part the owners do too.
Yeah,
like they want that too. However, they have tools that they're going to use, and it's like, if you have something that you can use to your advantage in a negotiation situation, guess what? You're going to do it. And so it comes down to us. Hey, how can we actually get this out of there? Because it's actually detrimental to our players. And look, we all want the best thing for football, owners and players, right? And we come together and try to negotiate. That's our CBA, our collective bargaining agreement, that we try to make for the best possible route to go forward. And we've done a great job so far, but we're always trying to fine tune it. You know how it goes.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's the most valuable lesson you learned in the NFL just over the last 7 years?
Ooh, this lesson applies to so many things, and it is why I've gotten into the NFL. But what you do with the opportunity that you have right now is going to lead to the next.
Yep.
And that is the most valuable thing I have learned. And where it really shows me is when I dropped out of my last semester right before I graduated, and I'm like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to go train right now. I'm going to just keep training. I'm going to do everything I can to train so I can when I get into a camp somewhere that I'm ready to go, my body's physically there. Then once I got into a camp, it was okay. I'm bringing all the playbook. I'm staying after. I'm talking to coaches. I'm going up after practice. I'm going to talk to my special teams coach. Hey, let's watch this film together. What can I do better? Coach me. I want you to coach me, because I'm making this team, and I need to know what I need to do better so that you like what you see on the film. And my effort relentless. I had my head coach come in one time. He didn't even know my name. I'm wearing number 3. You couldn't even wear number 3 as a running back there. They just gave me a random number. And like he asked our special team, hey, who's number 3 running down there? And he's like, yeah, that's Ekeler, man. He's been giving us a hell of a look. So I immersed myself in that opportunity. And what led from that was, hey, you got yourself on the roster. And then not only that, I was only a special teams guy really my rookie year. I led the entire NFL in tackles on punt. I had never played defense, never played special teams at one down in my life. But I immersed myself in my current opportunity, and it gave me what came next, right? And you can't always control that, but you can control what I have right now. So it's the same thing going right now. I'm relentless in trying to build my business. I'm trying to raise. I have like a few that are going on right now. I have teams that I'm building because I know for me to be focused, I need to bring experts in so I can continue to be the vision, and be the spokesperson. I'll let them build it. And so I'm immersing myself in this opportunity. And to your listeners out there, like if you immerse yourself, like what kind of energy are you putting into what you have right now? Because that's probably going to reflect, right, what comes next. Right. And it might be the size of your next opportunity. It might be just in a different direction where you actually want to go, or even just further along in your career right now of maybe if you're climbing the management chain. What you have right now is your biggest opportunity to get the next one. So that's what I've learned most from the NFL. Because if you look up from my career, rookie, barely made the team, maybe, I don't know, depends on who you ask. For me, barely made the team, special teams, started getting in offense, 1-2 punch, was a starter for the last 4 years, and then now going into looking for my third contract. So it's been the same kind of principle and that same thing that I've learned and applied.
That's powerful, man. You motivating, man. You said you do speak.
I've done some speaking. Yeah,
you need to be out there.
It's tough though, because like I said, you want to do so much, right? I have opportunities, and it's like, okay, I have to narrow down some things, right? That time will come. I'll always be able to speak. Always will be. Right now, I don't think it's the time, because I'm still right in that journey. I'm still gaining that respect right now, and that respect will still build, and I want to continue to build, right? And then as you continue to build that respect, the power of your speech becomes, and the story of your speech becomes a lot bigger and a lot more impactful. Because if you travel a distance, that's great, right? If you travel a whole journey, right, now I have many stories that I can share that are more applicable. And I'm just not in the space right now where I have enough bandwidth to really hone in. Because when I do something, I'm in. Like I told you, I have an obsessive personality.
So you locked in.
So if I go into speaking, I'm all in on speaking. I'm trying to go keynote. I'm getting on. I see. As in Dan Fleisman, these guys sets up all the speaking for all the top, Goggins, all the top people, Tony Robbins. He sets up the stage for those guys. So I would get it. I know him. I'm part of his group, that neighborhood that I was talking about. So I'm in the speaking neighborhood. But when that time comes, I'll definitely be there. Yeah.
We touched a little bit about mentorship. Mentorship's extremely important to me. It's helped me all my life. Who's in your circle that speaks into your circle, or you let speak into your circle?
Yeah.
And what's the biggest impact, with that, especially with us being in Vegas circle?
Yeah, mentorship's interesting. And I've learned a little bit about it over time. And it's tough on both sides. But as far as the people that are in my circle, really one of my closest people to me was Bill Ekeler. He is my cousin. He really came into my life when I started to build my foundation. I've been around him a lot, but he's super entrepreneurial, and he had an exit back a few decades ago, and has been in that space. And he's really helped me really come onto the scene of learning the ins and outs of building plans, building strategy. Another one, his name is David Meltzer, and he's like a super connector of entrepreneurs, speaker, that type of person. He was an agent for a while.
So he gets it. He gets the ins and outs of everything.
And so why I say it's interesting with the mentorship, because I was thinking about starting a mentorship early on with my foundation, and I was actually advised by Bill at the time. He's like, you got to be careful, because you can bring in people to mentor, but you don't know their capabilities. You don't know their intentions. You don't know what they're going to.
Got an angle.
So it's the whole, you can lead a horse to water. Like you could put a path there for somebody, but if that's not the path they want to go down, then you can't force it. You can't force it. And so what I've learned is you gravitate towards people that you're trying to kind of be in that, whatever type of energy, whatever type of sense that you're trying to go into. For me anyway, I've gravitated to those type of people. So that's how I found my mentors, because I'm like, okay, you're right. Like I don't want to mentor. I don't want to bring on, like I was thinking, high school kids, things like that, where, hey, I'm going to help you build yourself, maybe get an opportunity in the NFL, where it's like, okay, maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you need to go through some different growing pains. So I went a different route with the foundation. But yeah, mentorship, as I've continued to find out where I want to go and the path I've been, it's been even more crucial to have the mentors, because now I can be really intentional with what I'm asking about, and I know the questions, and I know where I need help at.
You can use them as a backboard. Really,
exactly.
To get
when I don't have clarity, how can you mentor me? Because I don't even know. What should I be at? Like, I don't know where I'm going. But now I have clarity in my life, and so it's made my mentors even that much more impactful, because I know exactly what I want to do, and I know who knows how to do that around me.
Got it. Yeah, I love that. You were talking a little bit about mistakes, right? Made some mistakes and got punched in the face a few times.
Oh, yeah.
What's something you can share with our listeners, or maybe a player that's just getting in, or might be ready to sign right now this summer.
Absolutely. So I give this
something you can share with them.
I give this to all of my rookies because when I first came into my second contract, which is usually a big one, mine was like 4 years, 26 million. So boom, big checks now.
Yeah.
They were big before, now they're really big.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh, I got money.
It's life-changing.
And then, life-changing. And so when I came into that, I'm like, okay, I have opportunities. People are asking me to invest, and I'm invested in companies. Like
you're a target.
Like I know. I know something. I'm invested in companies, and I remember investing in this company. It's still around, so I'll to keep the name out, but I did not do my due diligence. I didn't even know what the heck due diligence meant. I didn't know about that word, or those words.
Chris is laughing for a reason. You got to take advantage of too.
It sounded like a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great idea. Like, I love this idea. And I put, the minimum was like 200,000. I put a little bit more than that in there. And it's pretty much gone. I guess, like I said, they're still around a little bit, but they're raising. They pivoted like 8 times. And then I was talking the other day. I'm like, what's the business plan? And they got like 6 different business plans. I'm like, okay.
It's just taking advantage.
So what I always tell my guys is, do not be in a rush to invest your money. Smart. You can let it ball up. Here's what you need. You need to learn. You need to learn what you need to learn. Mm-hmm. That's where you start. Yep. And for me, I learned really a lot about real estate. That's where I was going to go. And so that's where I actually felt most comfortable. That's where I was investing first. And that's where I still have those investments. They're still working at, because I understood the landscape. I understood the numbers. I understood, the multifamily houses, all of these different ins and outs of real estate. Had to take advantage of that. And I had connections in the space as well. And so I always tell my young guys, I'm like, you either need to learn about it so that you can make connections in it, or you need to have connections in it so you can learn about it. But you need both of those before you start actually putting any money in this. And so guess what? If you got $300,000 in the bank from your rookie year, if you just sit there and learn, you wait 1 year and now you have actually more knowledge. Guess what? That 300,000 is still going to be there. Now you can go deploy it. You don't need to worry about, okay, I got this money. What do I need to do with it? I got people. I got families reaching out. I need to start restaurants. Like actually happened to me too. Like people, like my mom's I'm gonna throw my mom out there. Like she's an entrepreneur. She wants to do these things. I'm like, Mom, I don't know anything about restaurants. What do you mean start this restaurant? Like, what do you mean? Like, hey, doing a restaurant?
The restaurant one of the hardest businesses to do, man. Extremely hard.
And so just be patient and learn, and then hopefully find someone that you can trust and that you can connect with in a certain space and learn from them. But do not be in a rush. Do not be in a rush at all.
Love that. Yeah. Take your time, man. Yeah. Take your time. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
With us, we always talk about business, right? Business culture, that's our mix, how you impact in, Vegas. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people trying to build in Vegas specifically. What's a business advice you would tell them? Maybe they're in the league right now. They want to start another business. What would you share with them?
One is, you wouldn't hire your mom to be an offensive lineman. Like, make sure you have experts around you that actually know what they're doing. And it's not, and look, it doesn't always have to be a true expert, right? Depending on how many resources you're putting to it.
Sure.
Maybe if you're trying to start something up and you're very frugal with it and you're starting to, kind of both build and learn at the same time, but you're keeping it slow and keeping it manageable as far as the spending.
Sure.
I think that's okay to go out there and kind of just, go through some growing pains that way, but just to make sure you don't bet the farm on it, keep it within your means, but go do stuff. Go do it.
Experience.
Do it. You need to get burned a little bit. Like I said, keep it manageable, but you need to go out there and try something. I want to do this, and this. Pick one and go, and then to try and pivot on the way. The way, because if you don't go out there and take the risk, you're going to be stuck and you're going to be making decisions and you're going to be wishing you would have. But also know that you're probably going to get burned, and know that you don't have the completed product right away. Like there's gonna be things that come up. There's gonna be new people you get introduced to, and that's the best thing. When you have done something, now you have a story to tell.
Everybody's looking.
And you have a story to tell. Now when you walk in a room, you go to network. Oh, this is what I'm doing now. Hey, what do you think about that? Now you have a focal point that you can ask questions about. And so even if it might not be the best or the biggest or the way you exactly want it, get out there and start slow. And it doesn't have to. You're not going to build Rome overnight. You're not going to build the best new thing overnight. It's not how this stuff works. It's just too competitive on markets out there to really do that. And if you do, which I mean, it's very, very rare, good for you, but just realize it's a slow build. And honestly, I think the best part about going out and doing stuff is you build yourself. And when you build yourself, now you've heard of shoot for the stars. Like, don't shoot for the star. Build your floor up, right? Build your floor up. So even if something fails, I'm still up here. I still got these net connections. I still got this knowledge. I got this experience. I got the XYZ. The list goes on. And now you can start from there. You don't have to start all over because you thought you could just skyrocket something and you forgot to learn all the ins and outs of the actual business and just a business model in general. Do you even know how to build a business model? Right? You got to start
just a business plan in general.
You got to start the fundamentals, right? And so start slow, but go out there and do stuff.
I remember we had somebody on a while back, Tiaba Coffee, remember, that owns all this
yeah.
stuff. And one thing she had always stuck with me, she's always said, learn bookkeeping. Like literally learn your books, fundamentals of everything, and learn that foundation, which is amazing. You seem like you read a lot, man. Is that something?
I have been reading a little bit more. Lately, actually.
Okay.
Lately. But I used to stream. So I streamed for like 2.5 years.
Okay, just listening to stuff.
Listening to stuff, talking. Like I would stream, right? I'd be on the chat. We'd be talking. Talking motivation, we're talking. People ask me. That's how I got started. I wanted to connect with fans.
Okay.
And so I opened
Twitch,
myself
right?
up. Yeah, Twitch. Yeah. And so I opened myself up. Hey, you guys want to come ask me questions? So I spoke about my story a ton, and really have kind of gravitated towards the lessons and the learnings that are in my story that people gravitate towards, and those are the things that I express. And so I'm really clear on them. So that's probably why it seems like
it's
I read.
powerful. No, it's powerful.
Are you more of a just get out there and do it, or do you take a time to learn about it before you jump in?
I'm a get out there and do it guy. But that was when I was earlier. I'm learning now. Okay, there's actually a lot of value that you can build in the planning phase. And because I used to just, like, I started this streaming company called Gridiron Gaming Group, and I was streaming. I was like, man, I'm at Verizon's hit me up, Bud Light's hit me up. I'm getting all these sponsors coming to hit me up to get on my stream. I'm like, dang, other athletes should be doing this. And so what I did, I was like, all right, I'm going to start a company. I called it Gridiron Gaming Group. And what it was going to do was it was going to leverage all of other athlete streamers, not just athletes. So I had like an IndyCar driver in there, an actor in there. And so I was like, let's get all of our streams together, leverage each other. We're going to do big events. We're going to, actually, get together, do fun things for our communities, bring them together. And we did that. And it was incredible. But I did everything. I did everything. And
no time.
So I'm reaching out to the sponsors. I'm putting the creatives for like a Super Bowl event together. I'm getting everyone, organized, and I'm gassed. It was not sustainable. But I just went out there and did it. It failed. Ultimately, we were probably around for like a year. We did stuff for the Indy 500. We did stuff for the Olympics. We had Alicia Gray in there. She was a gold medalist. We had actors. Did something for the NFL draft as well. And Twitch actually came up, put us in a studio. Like, we were rocking. And I just fell off a cliff because I'm like, yep, I'm good.
No time.
This is during COVID too, so we get a little bit more time, right? You can't go anywhere. So I'm going. COVID starts shutting down. We start going back into the office. I start getting back in the building. I'm like, okay, yeah, no way. But guess what? I went out there. I tried something. I did it. Right? It was
learned a lot from it.
Super low cost. Learned a ton. That's what actually has built experience. My other app that I was telling you about, that's today. So it transformed into that. I'm a jump in guy. But like I said, been learning.
I'm the opposite. I'm a learn and no jump in guy.
No jump in.
So you got Bill is the same way. Bill is the same way, but I think it's because he's been around so much and he's got burned like I have, and I think I'll probably progress towards that as I get older. But right now I'm in this like energy risk mode. Right, we can build it. I can do it. I'll stay up for 12 hours a day. I'll make it work. I'm in that zone in my life, which is, and I understand that, but it's also, I actually did like a message today. I do like these messages of the day. It was like, be intentional with your time today. Like, make sure you're absorbing the knowledge that you're going through, or absorbing the experience that you're going through, because this is how you build yourself up for the next thing, right? And so that's what I'm doing right now. I've been a jumping guy, but I'm learning, okay, I need better plans. I need to think through these things a little bit more, because that's what, when I bring experts around me, that's what they do. They're like, okay, what's the plan? Hey, who's doing this? Who's doing that? I'm like, okay, like I haven't been doing that as much lately with my past companies, but now we're really getting into the weeds on this stuff. And then it helps us go forward, because now we have like things that I can actually hold you accountable with, like, hey, is this getting done or is it not? For the tech, for the money, for the marketing plan, for the business development side. So all of these things. So there's a ton to learn.
But it's harder to do what you do versus go back. It's easier to go back and learn than it is to get how to be a sheer effort.
Exactly.
That's powerful, man. No, it's exciting, man. Everything that you're doing, man. We always transition a little bit. We always talk about asking guests about restaurants, man. So now, since you've been in Vegas, what's your favorite restaurants that you might take your fiance to in Vegas?
I'm actually going to one of our favorites. We have a few. Okay. Italian, there's a place called Spaghetti Western.
Spaghetti Western is very good.
You know it?
Yeah, Southern Highlands.
Yep.
Very good food.
So love there.
Yeah.
There's a place called Kaizen's. There's a few places called Kaizen's. It's all you can eat sushi in Henderson Kaizen's. There's a few other ones, but that all you can eat one is phenomenal. Love it. It's my favorite sushi spot in Vegas. There's another one that is called Wolf and Sparrow. Sparrow
I have
and
not
Wolf.
been there on Spring Mountain.
Sparrow Wolf.
Natalie talked about that before.
Unbelievable.
Okay, I heard great things.
It's won awards, all of that.
The
thing is, it's kind of strange because they put like only half the menu on there. when I go there, I'm just like, just bring out some good stuff. And
Love that.
it is phenomenal what they bring out. So
Okay.
it's a little strange, but hey, you get
Gave
used
us
to it.
3
You get
gems,
used
though,
to it.
man.
So
That's-
there you
that's
go.
good.
There's 3 gems for you.
Okay. What else is on that we might have forgot to ask you that you maybe want to leave us out on?
Look, I have a lot of stuff coming up, and
Yeah.
it'll come out, and so it'll be appropriate when it comes out to come
Sure.
out. Like things are rolling out slowly.
Sure.
Got big things happening for all of them. They're in the pipeline. But really, I think my message is really I want to encourage other people to kind of go out there and be a better version of themselves too. And that's really what I want to highlight. It's what I highlight every day. Like I'm living my journey, but also find fulfillment in hopefully encouraging other people to go live their journey too. Because I'm from a little one stoplight town in Colorado, and I've just continued to build myself and build my capabilities. And as I said, you asked what's the best advice. It applied back to even before I even knew about it, going into the NFL. But just making sure you're taking advantage of what you have now. I've talked to people on my stream. They got a register job. They're working at the front desk somewhere, and I'm like, practice your social skills, practice organization. Like you should be challenging yourself. Like, how can I continue to keep a conversation, give great customer service? Like, because these things are going to help you when you're trying to network, help you when you're trying to transition into the next thing for yourself.
Yeah.
And so I just hope, the listeners out there, that's what I would want to really highlight is just continue to be intentional with your time when you're working. You're not working all the time, but when you are in a zone where you're trying, be about it. Be about it and do a good job. And what does that mean? That means like learning about, asking your boss, talk to your peers, learn from other people that are maybe in the industry as well, or new industries that you're trying to get into. Reach out to people, watch YouTube videos about it, learn, get in there, like be excited about it. And if you're not doing that right now, guess what? You have free time. Go learn about it on the side and build yourself up. And maybe you'll get an opportunity to go to a seminar and learn and network and just continue to grow yourself, continue to be a better version of yourself in any way that you can, because that's where you're going to find the most fulfillment.
Yeah. I love that, man. You hit on so many key nuggets. I've been talking to my kids about, maybe getting a finance degree, getting a communication degree, and I'm glad you're mentioning that because and they're gonna listen to you more being a professional athlete because you're in the spotlight. So I'm glad you're mentioning that.
So you got kids? Are they?
Yeah, I got
they're
2
in college?
kids. No, I got. Damn, I'm not
school?
that old yet.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe started young. Maybe started young. I don't know.
9 and 7. 9 and 7.
Okay.
But we talk a lot about just foundation and what you're doing.
Oh, the foundation of what you build is huge. Last thing here, I'll leave you with my little brother's in college.
Okay.
And I'm like, why? I know you want to go to the NFL and stuff like that, but even more, you don't want to be a knucklehead coming out of college.
1,000%.
I don't care if you like your degree or not. You need to learn how to learn. You need to learn how you can apply yourself, how you can bring in information and then go take a test and get it right, or go network. And it's going to help you in football. It's going to help you in everything. It's so transferable to everything. So I don't care if you like your degree or not. You need, hopefully you do. If not, choose a new one. But whatever you're in, just take it seriously. Not because, you need to learn this and that, but because you need to learn how to learn. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to, like I said, be a better version of yourself. So 100% the foundation that you're building is it puts you on a trajectory. Yeah. It puts you on a trajectory. And what trajectory you want is, it's
at least you got it, so you can at least go forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, no, I love that, man. Man, we applaud you, man. We had to have you come back on, man. You a
I'll
nice
come
motivation
back on.
speaker.
Well, hey, look,
once a year we need to have you on. Speak, dropping some gems,
come talk to me in a
Yep.
year, and I got a couple projects in the pipeline that are really on the verge of being really big. And being national, and so would love to come on and talk a little bit.
We love that, man.
Yeah,
we love that,
absolutely.
man. What's your social handle? People can check you out at.
Just Austin Ekeler on everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can just Google it.
Check it. Yeah, Google him.
Austin Ekeler on everything. I'll pop up. Yeah.
Well, appreciate your time, man.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure, and you can check us out at thevegascircle.com. So appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man.
Awesome.
That was great stuff, man. Really good stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.